guys, welcome back to Andy's Dinosaur Reviews, and today we've got some brand new Mattel Jurassic World Dino Reveal figures. This is the newest wave, and honestly, it's been kind of hard to find for me. It's been out for probably 2, maybe 3 weeks. I've seen a lot of people finding it. I have not been finding them at all, and so far I've only found 4, so once I find the other final 2, I will definitely review those as well, but I figured why wait until I find those? I might as well get reviews up of what I have here. This wave actually features more dinos than we normally get. First of all, you can also see that this wave is very obvious and very different from the others, as we have an entirely different style packaging for these guys. Like the coloration and everything is definitely quite a bit different. You can also see over here on the side basically what species we have. We have the Nothosaurus, the Elaphrosaurus, and Austroraptor, which are really cool species choices to have coming back again. You know, actually species that we've really only had one version of so far. But what you can also see is there are the standard versions and there are also the ultra rare versions. And I can definitely imagine the ultra rare versions are going to be a pain in the butt to find, but I've got 4 here as of right now, and I believe each one of these is different. You can see the number. Oh, I had it the right way the first time. There on the underside, so we can see again which one is in which of the packages. So you can see which number this one is. I'm going to go ahead, move these out of here, and then we'll open this one up and see who's in that number. So in the first one, what we have in here is going to be, ooh, I think it's the Austroraptor. Let's go ahead and see if I am correct. Oh, it absolutely is, and it actually looks super cool. This is the thing that drives me crazy. I always think that they look super cool in the original versions, and then, you know, it's kind of sad to go and alter them to whatever the actual coloration is. This one has a really cool bluish coloration here on the head. Now, I don't know how to tell, you know, straight out of the packaging when they are the ultra rare or when they aren't, so I guess we'll have to wait and see until I figure that out. The next one that we have here, you can see the number on the underside here, and the number, of course, that you want to pay attention to is right there, so let's go ahead and see who's in that one. So this, I'm going to go ahead and say, is the Elaphrosaurus, and again, it looks super cool as I drop it, but again, you can see the coloration looks really neat. I actually would not have been upset if this would have been like, obviously I would have liked to have seen more of this moving through the body, but a similar color like that would have been pretty neat for the actual figure itself. And obviously we're going to have a different color. You can even see that coloration starting to kind of creep through right there on the side. So we'll continue on with the next one, which this one is that, again, number right there. Should be a different figure as well. So this one feels like it is the Austroraptor again, which means that it should technically be the rare one, but I mean, I could be wrong because actually it looks like we have the same figure as far as the colors go as the first one. Again, the blues look to be the same, so unless maybe they're both disguised in the same way, I don't know, but I guess we'll find out soon enough. And then the final one, again, there is the number. This one would be BG or something along those lines. So this definitely, as the thing is rolling around off to the side here, this definitely feels like it will be the Nothosaurus, which means that, yes, it absolutely is. That means that I've got at least one of each of the different species, and I just have to collect the other variants of whatever is left. And again, that really cool coloration. I like that. Before, it kind of looked like a skeleton. Now we just have like some crazy colors on these figures. So they definitely look pretty fun here. Obviously, I've got quite a few of these guys here that need to be dino revealed. So I'm going to go ahead, go grab some water, and then we're going to go ahead, throw them in, and get them revealed. So obviously we've got some nice hot water in here. We're going to go ahead and dunk each and every one of these guys. I forgot that it's going to overflow a little bit. I probably should have put a little less water in. So we'll just put each one in and try to get them revealed as, whoa, that one's definitely going to get the water dumping out here on the review station. We'll put them all in here, and then find out who we have. I guess if we make a little mess, we'll just have to clean it up here in a minute. Get the Nothosaurus in there as well. Oh, he's definitely making a mess. So there we go. Now we've just got to wait a minute or two. Well, maybe a little longer than that. Let them reveal themselves and we'll check them out. So I'm going to go ahead, bring them each in, and we'll check out the colors because they have been fully revealed. And first of all, we have the Austroraptor. And I did pretty good because it's actually the rare version. You can see it has that kind of like metallic tone of color, and that seems to be the way that you decipher the rare version from the standard version. Though I kind of expected that to be the rare version because we did also get this one. And since we had two of this species, you know, straight out of the gate, I kind of assumed one of the two was going to end up being the rare version since they were different numbers. We also got the Elaphrosaurus, which is the standard version. It's got some kind of goofy paintwork up here with like, it almost looks like paint chips. I don't know if that's just color that didn't come off all the way. And a few of them actually have had that. Some of the paint is kind of just being a stickler and sticking to the figure. It's not coming off. But we also got super lucky because we got this, the rare version of the Nothosaurus as well. So definitely doing pretty good when it comes to the rare ones. That means I've only got one left of the Nothosaurus when it comes to these target versions left to get a hold of, and then one left of the Elaphrosaurus. And from what I have been told, there was actually another line of these guys at Walmart which do feature different colors, I think. I guess I'm going to have to figure that out at some point soon once I run into the ones at Walmart, but I'm pretty sure there is another, you know, trio of these guys showing up at Walmart with different colors. But we're going to go ahead and take each and every one of these out of here for a moment and bring them in. So first of all, we'll take a look. Actually, I'm going to readjust the camera here just a little bit, and then we're going to take a look at the Elaphrosaurus. As I said, again, we've got like some kind of goofy like white paint up here on the top of the head. I don't know if it's meant to be that way. I don't know if that's a paint chip or if just sloppiness when the paint was applied, or if that's somehow some of the original paint, even though I don't remember anything being white like that on that, you know, original version when we pulled it out. But it does have that on the head, and you can see a little bit over here as well. So I don't know what's going on with that, but other than that, again, we basically have like a light sort of a tone, almost like a light tan, but bordering on a green. Does that tail articulate? I don't think it does. It looks like it's slightly out of place. You also may see some water here and there because, you know, I just cleaned these guys off. I also got some of their color on me. But overall, again, you have that light tone for the primary body color. You also have the blue that kind of like overtakes the top of the head and then kind of like starts to spot down and speckle down into the face a little bit. We also have an alternate light tone here for the lower jaw. You do have an articulated jaw, which is definitely nice for the figure. Inside the mouth, a nice pink tongue with a beautiful gloss coat, and the teeth are painted with kind of like an off-white tone, and the pink does run the entire way through the inside of the mouth, so that's definitely a plus because some of the other more recent Dino Reveal figures did not actually have coloration on the inside of the mouth. As you move through, you will see that the sculpt of this is definitely the same as the previously released version. There's nothing that really differs this one from the older version as far as the sculpt goes. Maybe a little less articulation because that's usually what these guys have going on. You know, they're a little more limited, but you do of course have arm articulation forward and back and leg articulation forward and back. Looks like you'd have a swivel tail, but you actually don't seem to. At least this one's not moving at all. But as you move down, again, you have that primary body color, that primary tone, and then you have a little bit more of that blue that just very briefly stripes through up here on the back, and then that's gone, and that's it. Then it looks pretty much naked. And again, these figures are never all that amazing or impressive when it comes to the coloration that is applied to them, but, you know, it usually looks kind of cool. And I think this one does look fairly fun. It's nice to have this species back, and not just have it back, but have it back in a few different variants. But in general, again, it's just nice to see it back at all because we've only had this one time prior, and it is a very obscure species of dinosaur. So that one's pretty cool. Then when it comes to the Austroraptor, I think this one as well is actually really neat. So we have primarily a brown tone of color for the body of this one, almost like a chocolate bar sort of brown. Okay, so the tail does articulate on this one. Makes me wonder if the tail does articulate on the Elaphrosaurus and maybe it's just stuck. But overall, again, the brown tone for the primary body color. And then you have this light sort of greenish yellow, almost like a mustardy color that just absolutely splatters itself all over the face of the dinosaur, moving back and leading all the way down through the body into like the hip region, which is actually surprising to see one of the Dino Reveal figures with that much color on it. It almost looks like something you'd see on on the main line. But you do also have some really nice blue eyes for the figure and a light gray for the lower jaw. What's weird though is we actually have some of this kind of mustardy color that shows up down here in the lower jaw on that side, but not on the other side. So I don't know why. I don't know if that was just a paint mishap or if it's supposed to be like that. Inside the mouth, again, a pink for the tongue and everything, an off-white sort of for the tone of the teeth, and then you do see the pink on the inside of the mouth on the upper side as well. So very nice, very smooth articulated jaw like these figures usually have. Same deal as far as the articulation moving down. You've got the articulation in the arm, articulation in the legs, and then actually a swivel tail, so a little more than what we saw in the Elaphrosaurus. Still more water kind of showing up here on the figure and popping out. Oh, there's definitely a good bit of water. But unfortunately, no nail paint on any of these figures. That's just to be expected when it comes to these dino reveals. Still super cool to have this species back as well. I like that they actually had chosen like 3 of my favorite species that they've introduced to their line to bring back, especially this one. And then when it comes to the rare version, you can see that this one actually is really cool as well. It has a greenish tone for the primary body color, but it has like a really cool kind of metallic shine, almost like an iridescence to it, which does look really, really neat. I actually think these figures are significantly cooler than I was expecting them to be. And then you have this reddish tone that starts up there on the back of the neck, right behind the head, and leads down about mid-back area before being, you know, completely gone, completely disappearing. But that looks pretty cool, like, as far as like that tone of color in contrast to the primary body color. There is a little bit more of the coloration, that original color that just kind of like has shown up here on the tail and won't get off. I actually tried scrubbing it repeatedly and it doesn't seem to be coming off. So I'm going to have to probably, like, you know, just let that soak a little bit longer at some point. You do have an alternate tone for the lower jaw, which does also have a metallic tone of color to it, focus camera, and then a green eye, which looks pretty cool. And then the inside of the mouth has, again, pretty much the same tone of color with the pink and then the off-white for the teeth and everything. And that pink does show up the entire way through the inside of the mouth. Of course, the same articulation on this one, you know, all of the same stuff when it comes to that figure. But the way that the metallic shine looks, it almost looks like it has numerous different variations of greens throughout the course of the body, making it really stand out. I actually love that color variant of this figure. And man, now 3 Austroraptors from Mattel in their line. And again, a fan favorite coming back again, the Nothosaurus. I know this one is one of the more desired figures from the Mattel line, one that you didn't see around a whole lot before it disappeared, so I am so happy to see it back again, giving people the opportunity to acquire this figure again. And this one looks really cool as well. When it comes to the rare metallic version, it's got a dark bluish tone with a light blue that kind of shows up in the shoulder area and then moves down almost into the hip region before disappearing. But that metallic blue looks super, super cool on this figure. I really can't wait to see the very, you know, or extreme rare, whatever, ultra rare, I forget what they were called, version of the Elaphrosaurus as well, if it's half as cool as this one is, and the Austroraptor. But you do also have a light tone for the lower jaw, also has a little bit of like a metallic shine. You can see the teeth are all painted with an off-white. We have a yellow eye as well, which really stands out in comparison as well to the tone of color, that darker blue. Inside the mouth, you do have that pinkish tone as well that moves everywhere through there, and again, a nice gloss coat, which we saw on all of these figures as well. Just like with the others, though, the articulation is definitely more limited than what you get on the mainline version of the figures. You can see we have jaw articulation, no neck articulation. Almost looked like for a second we might have had at least a swivel, but no neck articulation, just leg articulation forward and back on both the front and rear legs, and a swivel tail. So I'm really starting to wonder if that Elaphrosaurus does in fact have an articulated tail. But again, a really cool version of the Nothosaurus as well. So I think that's really all we need to do. I guess we could technically do some comparisons really quick. I don't normally do this with the Dino Reveal figures, but what the heck, I might as well here. So there's the original version of the Nothosaurus next to the newer version, and obviously, as you can see, again, very big difference in coloration, but also the articulation in the neck is no longer on the newer version. Also, one good thing is we have like the fax app there. On the newer one, you don't have that, so that's a plus for that one. Like if you want one to repaint, I would say go for the newer one because you don't have that kind of, you know, problem there obscuring that area. Then we've obviously got the Austroraptor here, which you can see again a bit different when it comes to the amount of articulation and everything that we had. The coloration is obviously also very different, but still really cool to see the Austroraptor now in so many different variations, looking so cool. Definitely fun to have that one. And then the original Elaphrosaurus, as I'm just throwing figures around over here, next to the newer one, which again you can see there is a lack of articulation on the newer one compared to the older one in the neck, but otherwise, you know, it's pretty much the same figure. No real differences. Again, also outside of the fact that none of them have the fax app code there, you know, coming out of their backs. But overall, it's another round of really cool dino reveals. I actually am enjoying this line more and more. You know, when it first had come out, I was like, they're pretty cool for what they are. But now I actually get genuinely excited to see these guys and get new variants into my collection of the different Mattel species. It's just fun to be able to complete, you know, the dino reveal line. Well, I'm not really complete now. I've got quite a bit actually to get, and even there's more newer ones coming, like the Austroraptor size ranged figures. But it's neat to be able to add more of a species, like different color variants, into like a pack or a herd or something like that, just to have, you know, more in its family, I guess. So definitely another round of really cool figures. If you are interested in these, head to your local Target, because that's where I found mine. Again, they are a little bit tricky right now as they're really just starting to release, so they may not be super easy to find, but over time I'd imagine they're going to get a whole lot easier. So make sure you use the codes that I had shown off at the beginning of the review. Pick them up when you find them, and like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next review. Thanks for watching.